This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, top of almost here to St. Patty's Day, but we're marching along, and we've got major things happening this month here in March. We've got daylight savings coming aboard, which makes me do a happy dance, more sunlight, and we've got spring coming, although who knows if it's really going to be coming. I can tell you here in Colorado, my home base, I looked out the window 2 days ago, and whap, gigantic snow was coming down once again, so it's not here really yet. But we have a spring full of ideas today. How would you like to sell your book with just 20 minutes of effort a day? And over a period of time, you're going to create huge sales. Well, if that grabs you, I've got a repeat guest who I love to have. I love her. She's fun. She's got short. She's snappy. She's snazzy. She's my type of person. Amy Collins is back with us, and she's the brains behind New Shelves and knows book publishing inside and out, as she's wore a variety of pedigrees that has brought her to her expertise, from being a book buyer, book promoter, book distributor, book everything. And we're going to be diving into a lot of the tricks of the trade that she has acquired, as well as I've acquired, to really get you to be focused, to really be successful in this thing called book publishing, book marketing, and authoring. So hi, Amy. Welcome back.
Well, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great on this on our March day as we roar into hopefully summertime, which is my happy time as we go along. Yeah, well,
it was 70 degrees here yesterday. I'm in upstate New York. I'm 5 minutes from the Canadian border, and I loved it.
Yeah, well, so you were wearing shorts. Okay, all right. I get that.
And flip-flops.
Yeah, and flip-flops. Perfect. And here I am with woolies on, tights, long pants, turtlenecks, and everything else. That's America. All right, so we're going to jump into this. Really, how do you sell your book in 20 minutes a day? And I guess, Amy, is it really possible to do this, whether we do it with bookstores or libraries, online, or any other avenues? So what's your words of wisdom?
It is possible. And 20 minutes a day is the maximum. I have some clients who aren't interested in giving me 20 minutes a day, and they do it in less. Mm-hmm. It is possible. However, the key is to do a little something every day. Do a little something every day. So many people get excited at the beginning and put 10 hours in a 1 or 2 day period, exhaust themselves, depress themselves. Mm-hmm. It's the exact same thing as going to the gym on one day, running for 2 straight hours, and then being upset you haven't lost 40 pounds. That's not how this works. You do a little bit each day. 20 minutes a day is extremely possible to have a great deal of success, but the key is you do a little something each day. And I'd love to talk to you today and spend some time with your listeners going over what to do with those 20 minutes and how to make those 20 minutes really count.
So what we're telling our listeners is, hey, don't be an overachiever. Which, that's how my new little book, who is now in layout. I'm pleased to tell everyone how to avoid 101 book publishing blunders, bloopers, and boo-boos, which was only supposed to be 50. But being the overachiever I am, it grew. And now we're starting book 2 on that whole thing. But so, Amy, so how do we, I guess we also need tips on how to control ourselves so you don't overdo do it and exhaust yourself, because you do exhaust yourself, and that's what happens, and people get burned out.
Yes. And they also exhaust themselves on the wrong thing. So I think that's where we should start.
Okay.
If you're the type of person who drives yourself to illness with work, I can't fix that on a radio program. Go see a professional. But I can tell you that too many people drive themselves too far in the wrong direction. And so let's start by taking a look at the numbers, the facts of where book readers and book purchasers are, where people are going to get books. Judith, this is not going to be news to you, but it may be news to other people, that supermarkets, which used to be an enormous place where people bought books, they were the number 3 place a few years ago to buy a book. They're plummeting. Very few books are bought in supermarkets anymore. That's
in the grocery store. Are you talking about
in the grocery store?
Yeah, the grocery store. Okay.
That has changed. I spend an enormous part of every week in bookstores. I actually get in the car and drive to different bookstores around the country. Bookstores and the book market are my industry. But bookstores more and more are becoming the places where people go to get coffee, to buy calendars, stationery, games. Barnes & Noble has just announced an enormous change in the upcoming year. They're going to be hosting games nights, which is setting the comic book and gaming world aflutter, because they're elbowing into and if it wasn't, truthfully, for Cards Against Humanity and other similar board games, Barnes & Noble would have had a very different fourth quarter last year. Books are still very important to bookstores, but they're losing their import. And bookstores are becoming less and less relevant to readers as they find other places to buy books and as they go other places that are more convenient. So if you're going to spend 20 minutes a day selling your book, I want you to ask yourself, is bookstores really where you should be focusing? Is your book, like a book like yours, Judith, The 101 Ways, perhaps you should be spending your 20 minutes a day for several weeks outside of the book world entirely. Maybe you should be spending your time selling to corporations and associations. Maybe you should be focusing on organizations that attract authors and selling bulk groups of your book to associations that they can use as giveaways. Maybe you should be spending your 20 minutes a day writing up proposals to partner with IBPA, AuthorU, Where Writers Win, all the different associations out there that speak to authors, and getting the word out that way. Maybe someone like, we've got a number of shared clients and people that we know that have written very powerful business how-to prescriptive leadership books. They shouldn't, please, for heaven's sakes, don't go sitting around your local independent politics and prose, politically left-leaning liberal fiction bookstore. That's not the best use of your time. You instead should be focusing on where your readers are. And those readers are online. Those readers are reading articles on Fast Company. They're in Inc. They're in Forbes. That's where you should be spending your 20 minutes a day, writing articles and pitching article ideas and webinars to people like you in your industry. So to start, and I will take a breath here, I promise, the important thing is not the 20 minutes, it's how to spend your 20 minutes. And I could go on for another hour about how to determine that, but it starts with knowing the facts of your industry. Don't just assume that because you think your books belong somewhere, that that's where people are buying it. Spend the time to actually discover where your readers are.
So, Amy, I mean, literally, you're talking to the choir here, because I have been preaching that whole gamut for years that it's an ego thing. I always confront an author. Is it your ego who is screaming at you that I want to be in the bookstore? And are you willing to work your tush off to drive every Tom, Dick, Harry, Susie, Martha, fill in the blank, to a bookstore to buy your book? If you're not willing to do that, if that's not your game plan, then you're really going down the wrong path. So what you're saying is certainly what I've been saying for a zillion years. And that's frankly how I sold 1 million books. That is how I sold 1 million copies of my books, is because if you looked at my stats, and I have to tell everyone, my ego said, oh yeah, I want to be a New York Times bestseller author. Geez Louise, I have sold more books than most people who ever hit the New York Times bestseller list, because I went down those avenues and I found where my buyers were. And they were exactly where Amy is saying. They're at the association market. They were at the corporate market. They were the people. I went and found the people who had the pain that wanted the answers that I could deliver. Isn't that basically what you're saying, Amy?
Yes, and then figure out how to get in front of them. And that's not hard.
Yes.
You're talking about who has the pain. That part, okay, you can figure that out. But then how to get in front of them, that's what you're so good at, Judith. It's not being shy or not being unwilling to do what you need to do to reach out to those people.
Yeah, and that, it's very interesting. I'm going to, before we were on the air, Amy and I were talking, I'm speaking at the International Book Publishers Association meeting next month. And I gave them several things. And one of the things that they said you should have me speaking on is how, boring speeches suck. How to create a speech on your book that will create $1 million. And they said, oh, no, our attendees wouldn't be interested in that. I'm going, oh, for God's sakes, people. That's where the market is. So, it's very interesting. So pay attention, everyone, because what Amy's saying is that redirect what you're doing, where you're going, what your energy is about. And then you go, it goes back to the old classic question, who is your buyer? And when you know who your buyer is and you know who you're writing for, you go find them. Kind of summing it up here.
And you'd like to know how to find them. And that's what people like Judith and I can help you with. I will tell you that I've already done the research. I know that supermarkets and grocery stores are not the place to sell your novel anymore. That don't even bother. They only want a few books. They've got a strong formula. The chances of your book falling in that formula is not worth your 20 minutes a day. Let's go where the fiction readers are. The fiction readers are on Kindle. The fiction readers are online. The fiction readers are talking to each other in online book groups and book clubs. The fiction readers are in libraries. Right. You know I love libraries lately.
Exactly, Amy. Okay, so hold that thought. We're going to come back and deep dive into where they are and how to get to them. This is AuthorU, your guide to book publishing. I'm Judith Briles. My guest today is Amy Collins.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Give your book the best shot at getting buzz before it's even released. JKS Communications has been leading the book publicity industry for more than a decade. From producing some of the earliest book trailers to recently creating what shelf awareness calls the world's longest book tour, our team of publicists work tirelessly, smart, and with the goal of getting you the best attention possible. Our family of publicists come from journalism and publishing backgrounds with great experience and a passion for books. And our family of authors all across the globe are supportive of one another. We read your book and talk to you to understand your goals and lifestyle before sending you a proposal. We only represent books and authors that we believe in. Let's get going. Go online at jkscommunications.com.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, You'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, with me is Amy Collins today, and we are talking about literally how you can sell your book with just 20 focused, concentrated minutes, and in some cases less, a day. So it means, and to do it just kind of a wrap, it also means you're not going to go out and kiss every option, every opportunity. What you've got to do is get focused, deep dive, understand where your ideal readers and your market is, and then you just blow off everything else. Would that be a reasonable summary, Amy?
Yes, for 90 days. For
90 days.
I tell people that if you're going to focus on libraries, and if you're a fiction author, you really should focus on libraries for 90 days, 20 minutes a day, every day for 90 days, and then move your attention. Go to book clubs for 90 days. Move your attention. But I like the nice thing about focusing your attention for 20 minutes a day is this. If you're going to focus on libraries, then you know exactly what your cover leader needs to say. You've done the research. You know what librarians are looking for. You can send the same sort of email out to 1 or 2 librarians a day and do the follow-up because you're living and breathing the library market. Mm-hmm. And then when you move on to book clubs, you understand that book clubs have a very different set of needs and desires and results than librarians. So your cover letter and your responses and how you're thinking and how you're pitching can stay totally focused on that area during the time. It's 20 minutes a day means that you create an email, a cover letter, a phone call that speaks to the need of whatever market you're going after, and you send those emails, you mail those letters, and you make those phone calls for 20 minutes a day, and then tomorrow you'll pick it up again. But at least you're focused, and people will understand that you are living and breathing in their industry and in their needs because they can feel it. They can tell. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I want to, when we say that for everyone, I want you to, excuse me, I want you to pay attention that, you start with an email, you're going to do a phone call. This is pitching, your email and a phone call. And I want you to not sidestep the snail mail option, because that's the easy one to sidestep. Well, a lot of people don't realize on May 1st, guess what? Postage, oh my God, is going to drop 2 cents. Amy, did you know this? The post office is rolling back their postal rates, and that I am a firm believer, and I know that one of the things that was so successful in me selling all the books I did is I used snail mail besides email and phone calls, and I always had my book covers on a postcard. And right now I'm creating a whole new one for my little mini guide series now that we have 3 books in the series that are will be available before the end of this month. And that allows me to do bundling and pushing out, and they're all, of course, author centric, publishing centric. And that when they go out, that I will make a phone call. I will do the email first, phone call, and then follow up. I mean, why I'm making a phone call, I'm telling everyone, the odds are you getting a live person on the phone, except for a librarian. Librarians answer their phones. They're lovely. Is that the odds are you're not going to get them. It's going to take you multiple times. When I am leaving a short voice message, I am already addressing a postcard with them that has already got pre-information on it about it, and I can, scribble a personal little note and shoot it off. You will be amazed how your recipient will hold on to that and be reminded. And so when you call back again, there's a trigger. So just a little tip here. Okay.
Well, you're not the first person to tell me how very successful postcards have been for them. I think I may need to start trying it.
Good idea. Join the club. Well,
I remember a couple years ago when you told me to try Twitter, and I rolled my eyes at you, and now, yeah. So I trust you, Judith.
Well, the success of this radio show has been exclusively from Twitter, I will tell you. Exclusively from Twitter. All right. So as we go into here, and we move along. So let's say, okay, I'm going to focus on libraries. And my first 90 days. I'm going to do a year game plan. First 90 days. I'm a fiction or nonfiction author. What would I do as I focus on libraries, and then I do my shift to my next target?
If you are a nonfiction author, let's say that you've written a prescriptive how-to book for mid-level managers, shall we? Mm-hmm. And you decide that libraries are where you want to start. Okay. This is how you're going to spend your 20 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. You're going to pick up the phone, and you're going to say to the person who answers at whatever library you've called, hello, my name is Amy Collins. I've written a book called The Right Way. I need to know, I'm just asking, who is the librarian responsible for making the acquisition decisions or for deciding which books to take into your library for nonfiction business how-to books? Oh, well, that would be Ellen. Great. I don't want to bother Ellen. I know it's the middle of the day. I just want to send her a quick email giving her a link to my book at Baker and Taylor and Ingram, blah, blah, blah. So throw out the keywords, Baker and Taylor and Ingram, if you can. And they will 9 times out of 10 happily give you Ellen's email because librarians prefer email. They do answer their phones, but they're busy. They prefer to email as an initial contact. Mm-hmm. You've got the cover letter written. Dear Ellen, I've written a book about blank. I'm writing you for this reason. Judith actually she's got a number of programs on how to sell to libraries. Go to AuthorU.com. They'll tell you how to write the cover letter. But you send the email out. You pick up the phone, you call another library. You send the email out. That's 2 libraries. That's 5-10 minutes of your life right there. You've sent out 2 contacts. You've sent out the information about your book. Check your email. Did anyone get back to you from the emails that you sent yesterday or the day before? No? You still have 17 minutes left? That's great. Pick up the phone, call 6 more libraries. Send out a few more emails. The next day, do it again. Call 2 libraries. Get 2 contact names. Put them in your database. Send the emails out. Check your email. Seeing if anyone's gotten back to you. Oh, Ellen got back to you. She doesn't really have a nonfiction section need right now. She doesn't have any room for a how-to prescriptive book for business leaders, and truthfully, business books don't do great in her library. No problem. Thank you, Ellen, I'm just curious. Do you know if there's any libraries in your city that do very well with business? Would perhaps the downtown library be a better fit? I'm so sorry to bother you, but I would love to get your opinion on which library I should be going to. Ask them a question. She was kind enough to write back. Push your luck a little bit. This is how you spend your 20 minutes. Creating relationships, building conversations, building your knowledge base. You do this for 90 days, you will be in a lot of libraries by the end of that 90 days.
Yeah, no question about that. And I was going to say that, Amy keeps referring to the 20-minute. Here's what I would do. I mean, you can set your watch, you can set a clock, you can do whatever. Heck, if you're really visual, like I have a 1 hour hourglass on my desk that when I'm starting to talk and it's an hour consult, I just flip it over. It's a bright green color, and I know when it's out, we're done. Get some visual thing to remind you your 20 minutes are up, you're done, you're out, move on to your next project. And do something to remind you, play games with yourself, but it's only 20 minutes. And that's what she's reinforcing. You're not talking about doing anything in perpetuity that will suck your whole day out.
And I'd like to remind you that if you have not hired a publicist or if you do not have a marketing team that is driving demand for your book, your 20 minutes a day needs to be split between sales activities that I just described and marketing activities, because you need to then split it up into 10 and 10, because you should be spending an equal amount of time or money, not just trying to get your books onto the shelves of bookstores, airport stores, libraries, military exchanges, but you should be spending an equal amount of time making sure your books get off those shelves, that people go and buy them. So if you're going to spend 10 minutes a day pitching to libraries, you should spend another 10 minutes a day pitching your book to reviewers who review for librarians, pitching your book as pitching an article for a newsletter at a library or to a library website. If you're going after the library market, split your time between selling to the librarian and then also doing the marketing so that people go and actually pull those books off the shelves and check them out.
Which is huge. Yeah, you've got to drive demand wherever you're going. I think that's what they forget. And I think that's where authors in general, Amy, really flub. Even if they do make it into a Barnes & Noble channel or their favorite independent bookstore, they forget, I'm done. And they forget they sold it into it. Now they have to do the marketing to drive the traffic there. That's where the screw-ups happen, I think, huge.
And it is possible to do it in 20 minutes a day. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself. Well, I sound like it because I am repeating myself, but it bears worth repeating. Too many people say, I don't have the time or I don't have the money. Okay, you don't have the money? Then invest the time.
All right. Then we come back. We're going to talk about how to do that investment. This is Judith Briles. Amy Collins is with me today, and we're talking about how to be a soaring, roaring success with your sales and marketing in 20 minutes or less every day.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, so what are the steps? Where do we concentrate, Amy, to pull off the going from being so-so to really becoming that rock star as we go through this?
All right. Well, the steps start with scanning the horizon for where your opportunities are, which we've already covered, I believe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then once you've decided where the opportunities are, narrowing down your approach. And AuthorU is great. I know you've got a lot of products, Judith, that will help people figure out how to make the sales approach and how to do the marketing. So you've scanned the horizon. You've determined what your opportunities are. You decide to focus on one opportunity at a time so that you can immerse yourself completely in the culture and in the language and really be successful. You're not going to be a dilettante skipping around 7 or 8 different markets at the same time, one at a time. You commit to this. This may take years. It may take years, and it may take more than one book. Keep in mind that almost all, I don't know of any successful author. I truly don't. Judith can correct me, because I'm sure she does. A successful author that has one book, and they make a living off of one book, and that's all they do. I don't know anybody who does it that way. It just doesn't work that way, at least in my experience. So you keep writing, you keep marketing, you keep selling, and so the successful author does all of those things at any given moment.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to talk about well-known authors, I mean, one who just died recently, HarperCollins, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, and just in these last couple of years came out with her the lost manuscript, so to speak. But mm-hmm. she lived off that quite well. But
I
that
knew
is
Judith
such
could come up with one.
I thought I'd throw one on you, but that's the extraordinary exception. And Amy and I were talking off before about a lot of the mediocrity that we see. That a lot of authors have great ideas and great content, but they really are sucky writers. And they're not willing to make the investment commitment to either hire the people to really fix it or learn more about the craft to fix it themselves. And that this whole venture...
Well, and keep in mind with Harper Lee,
mm-hmm.
she was given a year to write. Her friends gave her a year's salary so that she could take off to write. Her editor sat with her, an editor of a very well-known publishing house. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I mean, all those years ago, things were different. Editors would sit with an author and write and rewrite books with them for months, a year or more.
Absolutely.
And crafted that book. She had the support of wealthy patrons, of a top-notch publisher who'd given her one of the lead editors of her generation. And then she had the marketing support of a team that truthfully doesn't exist anymore. There's not a New York house. There's not a house in the world that will give that sort of support anymore.
No. And I can share, and I've never publicly shared this, that when back in the 80s, when my son died, I had a 19-year-old who died, and that I was under contract with Simon & Schuster, and I was behind on getting my second book done and coming out, and they had paid a nice advance, and they had beat down other people in an auction for it, and I was just having a little trouble getting my head around things. I had also gone through a humongous embezzlement within my company. I mean, look at life was not good for me at all. And I, triple whammy is I also developed cancer. So it was just a rotten time. And that editor said, I am on a plane next week and I am planning on spending the week on you to help get you refocused. And she flew out and we refocused and we got that book done. They don't do it. They don't do it that way anymore. They don't do it. Don't count on it. Yeah.
Nope. And so but, one of the things that is different about this industry is, yes, editors don't do that anymore, and there aren't publishing houses the way they used to be, and everything has changed. But the good news is everything has changed. That is
yes.
Good news, because now we have online sales. Now there is a democracy now to the book industry. Yes, there's a lot of mediocre and less than mediocre content out there and books out there, but at least you, the listener, you have a chance to sell your book. You have a chance to become a bestseller. It's absolutely key that while everything has changed, and that's depressing, everything has changed, and that's wonderful at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And with that, Amy, that still that because you do the online has changed it dramatically. And I wrote a blog not too long ago. People piss and moan about Amazon, but if it wasn't for Amazon and what they did in knocking down, eliminating the ceiling, the book ceiling, that so many people could not break through. That it's clear there's a lot of mediocrity. I mean, I talk about book pollution all the time out there, because anybody and everybody can. But it also shows that if you will work your tush off, get focused, just like Amy is talking about, you've got to scan that horizon, know who is there, and then you commit. You can really own the territory in your specific genre, but it's not going to happen by itself, and it's certainly not going to happen without you being the kingpin in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I recently wrote an article about the library market, which got a little bit of attention online, and several people tweeted, but Amy, I'm exhausted just reading this. It's so hard. Yeah, it is.
Get over it.
It is. It's hard work. I'm not going to be one of the people who tell you can sell a truckload of books. You're never going to hear the word truckload coming out of me. No, you can't do this. It's not easy. But you can do it. 20 minutes a day is not too much to ask. And I know we've got a break coming up soon, but I would love to talk about the online world and how that 20 minutes a day could make such a difference to your pocketbook and your bottom line. because that's where so much of the juice and the potential is.
Well, with that whole thing, why don't we just go ahead and jump into that? Because we certainly,
All right.
yeah, no, let's jump into that. Let's start it and just carry it through. What should you be doing on that to get it going? Because online is where the traction is. It is where you're doing your action. And for those of you who are the shy Di, the shy George, the shy whoever, online is your mecca. You don't have to get out in front of people. You just get in front of your keyboard.
Yeah. And it does take a little bit of time, and it's easy to go down the rabbit hole and waste time. Just because you're online and it feels good, and just because it feels good and you're getting a lot of attention does not mean you're doing anything to affect your sales. Keep scanning that horizon for opportunities.
So let's find the right rabbit hole.
All right. So the right rabbit hole affects sales. So you're not sure if you're doing the right thing. If you've been working for 90 days online and your sales have not increased, you have not been doing it right. So here's some of the right things, in my opinion. Getting involved in discussion groups where readers, not authors, where readers are asking for advice and for suggestions. Getting involved in becoming a part of a community online where where readers are suggesting books to each other is far, far, far more effective than getting involved in discussion groups online where authors are giving each other advice and promoting their books to each other. Authors are broke. Authors don't have money for your books. That's not where you should be focusing. Authors are lovely people, but they're busy promoting their own book. Please go where the readers are. Yes, authors are readers, but just trust me on this, guys. I've been doing it for years. Go to the book clubs. Go to the online discussion groups on Yahoo, on Amazon. There's wonderful book discussion groups out there where readers are suggesting books to each other. The number one way that people find out about new books that they're going to buy is word of mouth and recommendations. That has always been true. Whether or not it's your mother recommending the book or it's Susie.Greenhouse@Blue is recommending the book, it doesn't matter. It's still a recommendation, and that's where you want to focus. So that's one of the places where I would go. Reviews are key. Reviews are so key. If you want people to think well of your book, then it needs to be vetted by independent third parties, a lot of independent third parties. Yes, it's lovely that Judith wrote me a terrific review for my book, and I appreciate it, and I wrote her a great review for her book. You know why? Because she is a good writer, and because I do trust her, and I trust her advice. But it's not the same thing as 100 strangers reading my book and saying the same thing. People don't trust one or two reviews anymore. They need hundreds. They need hundreds of people saying the same thing before they trust you. And that's okay, but that's what you should be spending your 20 minutes a day on. You should be looking up. Judith, you had a webinar yesterday, didn't you, with Dorothy Dunn, about finding reviews.
With Debbie Drummond, we did on how to find there's super readers, there's super fans, and people don't know about what we call super reviewers. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back to that. But it's hot, hot, hot.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today. 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207. Or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Okay, so as I always do, I talk to my guests off the air, and one of the things I think it's really important to understand, and Amy and I are going to go through a whole bunch of quick tips to what you need to be doing, but you need to understand that it's always so exciting when you decide to focus on one thing and try to do something, and oh my God, it hooks and it hits, and they said, absolutely, we want to do this the first time you reach out. The reality is it doesn't usually happen that way. Correct, Amy?
It almost never does. Yes.
Exactly. So let's get into those and really focus on, because you're going to be starting a lot of your energies with the online beside the in-person. There are certainly things you should be doing in person, but the online, offline in area follow-up is really where the critical reinforcement comes through, that all of a sudden you're recognized, your book is recognized, your name is recognized, and people want you. All right, so Amy, let's just jump into that.
All right. Well, as we were saying on the break, Judith, fiction authors in particular can, not all of them, but can fall prey to discouragement, depression, when they're reaching out to a particular market and they're not getting the results that they want. And one of the easiest ways to get around that and to jumpstart that is we were talking about online discussion groups. We were talking about where to go to talk about your book. And it feels wonderful to get on Facebook and into a particular group, or especially an authors group or a self-publishing group where it feels safe. But you need to get out there. And there are online readers groups out there. Goodreads is world famous, but also Book booktalk.org, one of the biggest. It's been around for, 15 years or so. Booktalk.org is a great one. There's a number of sites where you can go, and as scary as it is, you can get involved in discussion groups with readers out there. But it's not safe. It's not a warm cocoon of you and your fellow authors. It's getting involved, and it's hard work. It also is that you don't show up and start pitching your book right away. That's not how it works. You join these groups, you see what they're reading, and once you're confident that they're reading something similar to your book, then you can suggest it. This is why it takes 20 minutes a day. You would not walk in to Yankee Stadium with your bat in your hand and expect to be, playing that day. That's not how it works. 50,000 people walk into Yankee Stadium with a ticket, and that's pretty much what we're talking about with this book discussion. You're not on the team. You've got a ticket. You've got a seat. And if you expect to be invited down to actually play ball, you have to earn your way down there. It's not just going to happen because you bought your ticket and you showed up for 2 hours. That's not how it works. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication to actually get to play as opposed to sit in your seat.
Exactly. And, there are things that you can do. For example, Amy is now using Twitter and things like that, where she rolled her eyes at me as she revealed a few years ago. And I'm sitting, I've got 2 channels on Twitter with over 60,000 people who follow it. All right, so that's a lot. So I've got fans there. But that's a logical place that for me, if I wanted to start a discussion and get it going, that could easily attract other people, because through using hashtags that you can open up, you could create a tweet chat. And you can also do that in other avenues that you start opening up. But it's not something that I could have said, okay, I'm going to do a tweet chat 4 years ago when I was just starting to play around with Twitter. It's something that I've developed it over a period of time. Now this would be a logical time to really start moving those things out. And you can do that with online like Blab, as well as Periscope. If Periscope is ideal for Twitter, that's a Twitter base. But Blab, you can do other things. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do to open up this discussion dialogue. And I know Secret Sauce, the librarians, and I guess we should mention the Draft a Dream book competition is open right now. Get registered. Go to AuthorU.org. If you've got a manuscript in the work that you think that you will have polished enough that you could submit to a competition by May 31st, get registered, submit it by May 31st. We're not talking about having it laid out or anything. We're talking a manuscript that you could turn in, and I'll tell you, 5 people are going to get their entire book produced. Layout, design, editing, all those goodies that go with it. Ingram is going to feature it for a year in their catalog, etc. That it's a huge prize to win. So, Draft a Dream book competition, AuthorU.org. But here's what the librarians told me, and the reason why I got off that track is the librarians, all the Colorado librarians, are the judges. And one of the last questions we ask is, would you recommend this book be carried in your collection? And all the winners are going to be in their collections. Now, Amy, how cool is that?
Extremely. That's extremely cool.
It's extremely cool. So where they said the secret sauce was Goodreads. They go to Goodreads to read reviews when they're looking to add to their collection in certain areas. So
there's also a vetted group discussion by the American Library Association. I know it sounds weird, but if you go to ALA.org and poke around, you will find online book clubs that have actually been approved by the American Library Association, and librarians look there quite often as well.
Great, good idea. All right. So what she's really saying is that you've got to get out there. And this is part of your homework. So that's now we're into marketing and moving it. So there's 10 minutes a day.
Yeah, and online is key. Spend if you've got 20 minutes a day, spend a few of them on Amazon every day, making sure that your keywords are the way you want them. You're not getting a lot of ranking. You're not getting a lot of sales on Amazon. Every couple of weeks, tweak up your keywords. Go into your Amazon Advantage account or into your CreateSpace account and change the tags and the keywords. Buy a copy of your book as well as a copy of the best-selling book in your genre. Get your mother to do the same thing. Spend some time every day in the Amazon discussion groups, seeing who's, if somebody's asking for a question for a recommendation on a book about how to help their kid get potty trained, and you've got a book on potty training, offer it up as a suggestion. So spending a few minutes on every day online is more than just pitching your book. It's also massaging your data. Online is all about data massage. And if you're not an expert or if you don't feel comfortable, it is very easy to find college kids who know how to do this. They grew up doing this. Or call Judith or me, and we'll find you someone who can do it for you.
Well, and that is that you have to work on it, and maybe you get it as Amy says, a college kid, or it even can be a bright high schooler who is by definition that the internet is in their DNA at this point, and that they can maneuver themselves around and find things very quickly. I know that I hired one of my college interns as his season started to come up, and I went and sat down to him and I said, okay, but because we've loved working with him, and I said, how can we figure out, because I'd like to hire you, so let's figure out how we can make this work. Mm-hmm. So, he's now considered a really viable, valuable asset of our team here at the Book Shepherds. So we're really thrilled to have Bobby, and as well as at AuthorU.
I have the exact same thing. I've got a woman named Sumi who's on the other side of the world, and I consider her an integral part of my team. And she can get things done because she's got the technical expertise, and trust me, a better grasp of the English grammar than I could hope to. She grew up speaking the King's English, and I trust her implicitly.
Very cool. So, and now Amy and I are talking about get help, outsourcing at times, and these things. All right, Amy, we have less than 2 minutes here. So what other tidbits can we leave them with?
When in doubt, focus online. That is what I'd like to leave you with. When in doubt, online will give you the biggest potential bang for your buck. Never, ever be satisfied with your book's presence online. There's always another website that could be listing your book. There's always another reviewer that could be reviewing your book. There's always another article that could be written. You are never done online for the rest of the life of your book. And yes, libraries are awesome. And yes, you don't even say fine, send your book to a supermarket. Ignore what I said. But if it were me and I had a limited amount of time, I would be focusing, and I am, truthfully, because I came out with a book a few months ago. And I will tell you that I spend all of my time and energy right now online. As much as I love libraries, I know that the biggest bang for the buck is where the people are, and over 70% of the people right now are online.
And that's where they buy the books, and that you can bring them to your website, but you better make sure that your website links to a viable online service so they automatically can grab that book if they see what they want. All right. Well, our time is up. Yeah, we have to do this again, Amy. And Amy is at amy@newshelves.com. She knows publishing inside and out. I'm Judith Briles. It's AuthorU-Your Guide to Book Publishing. We'll be back with you next week.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each week,